This is the POPCAP Arcade Volume 2 disc for the Xbox 360 from POPCAP. And here on Classic Game Room, I review new video games right alongside the classics because I like old and new video games. These are some of my favorite styles of games on this disc because they're new games that have an old school feel to them. Games that focus on simplicity, on fun gameplay, games that are easy to pick up but difficult to master. Basically arcade games. We get Peggle, Feeding Frenzy 2, and Heavy Weapon all on one game disc. Most compilation game discs that I've reviewed, like the Sega Genesis collections and the Atari 2600 collection, pack a bunch of games onto one game disc that are organized with a menu structure. This one's a little different. You don't get a menu specifically for the POPCAP Arcade Volume 2 when you put the disc into the Xbox 360. The three games, Feeding Frenzy 2, Peggle, and Heavy Weapon, show up in your Play Game window on Xbox Live Arcade. I already had Heavy Weapon at the time I acquired this disc, so it didn't do anything. Heavy Weapon stayed there and my achievement points remained the same. I don't mind the missing menu or interface. This disc retails for less than $20. I'm sure that helped them save production costs. And the fact is, these are three of the most fun modern arcade games that I've played in recent years. Modern arcade style games. I'm a huge fan of Peggle, which I've described as Plinko from The Price is Right meets Pinball. Heavy Weapon is like Robotron 2084 meets Metal Slug. But I haven't thought of what Feeding Frenzy 2 reminds me of just yet. I review all these games separately, but the disc itself is an excellent value. And depending on where and when you buy POPCAP Arcade Volume 2, you can also save a couple bucks over downloading each of the games individually for Xbox Live Arcade. So cheers to POPCAP. I raise my glass of coffee to you this morning. POPCAP is based out of Seattle, and that makes me think of coffee. And Soundgarden, and Alice in Chains. Perhaps they could produce a video game where you play as the members of Soundgarden and Alice in Chains, and you can be Chris Cornell trying to serve people coffee. And the whole goal of the arcade game is to somehow convince the band members of Pearl Jam to pay $30 or $40 for a giant cup of coffee that has extra foam and chocolate and like peanuts and unicorns thrown into it, and come up with creative ways to not only charge abhorrent fees for a simple cup of coffee, but also to come up with a platinum album based off of that cup of coffee. And then after you get a huge caffeine buzz, your job would be to fop around the city of Seattle. Does anybody know what movie was sampled for the background noises in the extended version of Fop from Soundgarden? The original Americanized Godzilla. I'm not too manly to admit that I like unicorns. You can make a great sandwich out of them. Get some mustard and some lettuce, a couple pickles.